I warned them once, just once, that's all anyone gets with me. The morning those SUVs rolled up, kicking up dust across the same red clay my granddad first plowed back in '65, I already knew trouble was coming. The woman in the polished shoes, yeah, the ones that had no business crunching on dirt. Her name was Daphne Carmichael. Clipboard clutched like a weapon, smile so tight you'd think she owned the very air I was breathing. Behind her came two guys in matching polos, HOA logos, stitched on like they were lawmen and not just some self-important neighborhood committee. They didn't even ask, just marched right past the old fence my grandfather built, started rattling off violations like they had a script. I stayed quiet. Folks never realize how much they reveal when you just let them talk, especially people like Daphne. She didn't know me, not really. And she sure didn't know what I'd done for 25 years before coming back to this patch of earth. By the time she figured it out, her world would be upside down, her reputation, her freedom, everything she thought she controlled shattered. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Before all that, you got to understand how something as simple as a weathered line of wood could spark a war. How respect, once trampled, can rise up stubborn as old oak. That fence, it stands right where it always has, wrapping 15 acres of red dirt and stubborn pine. My granddad, Virgil Thornhill, built it himself in '68, every post, every rail. He carved his kids' names into the wood with a pocket knife deep enough that rain and sun couldn't wash them away. My father's name is there, mine too. There's even a spot left for names that never came, never had kids, never married. This land's all I have of them now. It's enough. I'm retired these days, a judge, if you can believe it. Years of watching the way folks lie, twist the truth, think they can bully their way through life. I brought that courtroom patience here. Learn to watch, document, let the facts settle out like silt in a river. House is nothing fancy. One bedroom wood frame, no air conditioning, no dishwasher, just a porch and a view that's worth more than any of their manicured lawns. I keep chickens, grow my own vegetables, fix what breaks. It's peaceful was, anyway, till the developers showed up 5 years back. They bought every parcel around me, chopped them up, slapped up houses like it was a contest. 2 stories, 3-car garages, lawns so green they looked photoshopped, soaking up water like they were trying to sink the whole county. And sure enough, where there's enough new money, there's an HOA people so obsessed with uniformity, they'll write rules about mailbox paint and grass height. I knew they'd come for me sooner or later. My place isn't pretty by their standards. That fence is gray, the yard's just dirt and garden beds, my truck's older than most of their kids. To them, I'm an eyesore. The problem to be solved. Last week I found a flyer stuck to my gate, orange laminated, screaming notice of violation. No signature, no contact, just a threat dressed up as courtesy. Property doesn't meet community standards, immediate action required. I held that flyer and thought about my father, Sterling Thornhill. He died on this land back in '89, shot by some fool who figured dirt was worth killing for. Bullet was supposed to scare him, but Dad never backed down from anything. Walked right toward the man instead, paid for that with his life. The shooter got 12 years. Some debts don't get paid with time, they get paid with memory, with stubborn refusal. That's the legacy around here. I was 8 when my granddad showed me this fence. A boundary isn't just wire and wood, he said. It's a promise. You respect mine, I respect yours. Cross it without asking. You break more than a rule. You break trust. Didn't understand it then. Do now. The fence had a gap southeast corner, clean cut like someone brought bolt cutters. Found it 3 days ago. Yesterday, found fresh tire tracks, big boot prints, someone in work boots. Size 11, maybe 12. Walked in, took pictures, walked out. I didn't confront them, not yet. I documented everything, measured, photographed, noted the time, the sun, the weather. Put up 4 motion cameras. Started a journal, date time, what I saw. I've built cases with less. Above my table, my granddad's Remington 870 still hangs. Never fired, it never needed to. It's not a weapon, so much as a reminder. This place has been defended and will be again one way or another. Respect is a ritual. Rituals matter. This morning up before dawn, coffee in hand, walked the fence, air, cool sky, purple at the edges. Found another cut, bigger on the western side. Surveyor's stake with a pink ribbon. Someone's measuring plotting. I took the stake home, photographed it, logged it in my journal. The first move's always small, a probe. They want to see if I'll fight. When I do nothing, they'll push harder. So I wait. Watch. Document. Remember what Granddad said, a boundary's a promise. They'd already broken theirs. I was watering the garden when the engines came, 3 SUVs rolling up the dirt road. Daphne at the front, the 2 HOA board guys right behind. The way they walked onto my land, you'd think they expected me to salute. Daphne came at me with her neighborly smile tablet in one hand, folder in the other. "Mr. Thornhill," she said, sticking her hand out. I didn't take it. Just kept watering tomatoes. She pulled her hand back, smile going rigid. "I'm Daphne Carmichael, president of the HOA. These are Curtis and James from the board. We're here to discuss concerns about your property." I turned off the hose, set it down, wiped my hands. "My property isn't part of your HOA," I said, calm as sunrise. She didn't hear me. "We understand that," she said, side-eyeing Curtis, who nodded like he was paid by the hour. "But your land's affecting property values. The county's expanding regulations, and we believe your land falls under the new jurisdiction. We're here to help you comply before there are legal complications." She had the look of someone who's always gotten her way. "What kind of compliance?" I asked. She turned her tablet, photos of my land fence, chicken coops, garden. "The fence needs replacing. Yard needs landscaping. Outbuildings need updating. We'll need access to survey the lines." I just let her words hang in the air for a beat, then said no. She blinked. "I'm sorry. No. This land's been in my family since '65. It's not part of your HOA, not subject to your rules, and you have no right to survey anything unless you've got a court order, which you don't." Curtis puffed up, looking like he wanted to be the tough guy. "Sir, you're misunderstanding. County regs supersede property rights when it comes to community standards. We're not asking, we're informing you." I gave him the kind of smile I used to save for defendants who thought they could outsmart the law. "You're informing me on my land uninvited. That's called trespassing." Daphne's smile cracked. "Mr. Thornhill, we're trying to be neighborly, but if you refuse, we have options. We can bring this to the zoning board, file complaints, make things very difficult." I picked up the hose. "I know the law better than you do. I know what trespassing is. I know harassment when I see it. Your HOA has no say over land that predates it. So here's how it goes. You leave, you stay off my land, and if you come back without a court order, I'll treat it as trespass. This is your only warning." She stared, something flickering behind her eyes. Surprise, maybe. She wasn't used to pushback. She turned, said something to Curtis and James, then looked back at me. "You're making a mistake," she said. "We'll see." They left. Daphne called me a stubborn old man, loud enough for me to hear. Dust hung in the air after they were gone. I stood a while, letting it settle, hands steady. Inside, though, something had shifted. A line was drawn by them, not by me. Once that happens, you have to defend it. That's not pride. That's survival. Inside, I wrote down everything, names, times, every threat, every word. Uploaded photos, started a folder, HOA incident log. Evidence isn't just about what happened, it's about proving you documented it. I'd seen more cases won and lost on that than anything else. That night, walked the fence line again. Fresh boot prints by the eastern corner, same tread as before. Someone had been back while I was talking to Daphne. That was no accident. They wanted me distracted. Photographed everything, checked the cameras. All were still running. Sat on the porch and thought about what Granddad used to say. People show you who they are in the first conflict. Pay attention. Over the week, certified notices started arriving, everyone full of baseless violations. $4, $200 in fines by Friday. All harassment. Went to town for supplies and found a car at my gate, 2 folks inside, business casual woman with a cameraman with a clipboard. "We're with the HOA compliance team here for an inspection," the man said. "You got a warrant?" I asked. He blinked. "No, this is just routine." "Then you're trespassing. Leave." The woman kept snapping photos. I rolled down my window. "Delete those in 10 seconds and leave, or I call the sheriff." They left, but not before I saw the pro camera gear. They weren't compliants, more like private investigators. Later, I found 3 more fence cuts, footprints, a cigarette butt. Camera footage showed 2 guys sneaking around at dawn, measuring, taking photos. I saved everything, organized, logged. This was no random HOA campaign. They were systematically building a case illegally. A few days later, I started hearing buzzing overhead. Took me a minute to figure it out. A drone flying grid patterns over my property twice a day. Took photos, logged every flight. 17 drone flights in 5 days, all recorded. Called the FAA, opened a case file. Illegal surveillance, another agency involved. Then the social media posts started, photos from the drone captioned by Daphne. "This is what's dragging down our property values." Community turned ugly, quick petitions, calls to the county. My neighbor, Mr. Beckett, showed me the posts. We screenshotted everything. Every comment, every threat, every lie evidence. After the post, another fence cut. This time, tire tracks led onto my property. Camera caught a white pickup, no plates, dented bumper toolbox in the back. Saved the footage, went to the county office, pulled every deed, survey, HOA record I could find. The clerk told me the HOA tried to file a lien. She rejected it. My land predates their entire organization. That night, porch light on, coffee in hand, I watched the glow of their subdivision. Most folks over there probably never knew, never cared what their HOA was doing in their name. But Daphne did. She picked intimidation over negotiation, harassment over respect. She figured I'd cave. She had no idea. I built my case folders, spreadsheets, photos, statutes. Every notice cross-referenced with county code. None of their claims held water. Printed out every section that proved them wrong. Added statutes for trespassing, invasion of privacy, defamation, harassment. Called an old colleague, a defense attorney. Asked hypothetical questions. Civil suit, trespass, defamation, harassment, injunctions. If there's property damage, it's criminal. How solid's the evidence need to be, I asked. Knowing you ironclad. Brought in a surveyor, confirmed my fence was 3 feet inside the actual boundary. More proof, I was more careful than required. The drone flights were logged and reported to the FAA. Then came the real break, caught audio on one of the cameras. Daphne, clear as day. This old man won't cooperate. Push harder. Dig into his past. If there's nothing, create something. Saved it everywhere, gave a copy to my attorney just in case. The next escalation was direct. Woke at 2:30 a.m. to the sound of heavy machinery. A backhoe, lights, blazing buckets, slamming into my grandfather's fence, tearing through 50 years of history in minutes. I recorded the whole thing, company name barely covered by tape, license plate, visible driver, and silhouette. When they were gone, I gathered the splintered wood-carved names, the heart of my family, into a box. Next morning, Daphne and the board showed up full of fake concern, offering to help build a new fence, adjust the line to fit the community plan. I just looked at her and said, "I have video." Her face went pale. "License plate, company driver, and audio of you plotting to create evidence. I know everything you've done." Her board started backing away. She tried to bluff, say I'd set her up. I told her I'd turn it all over to the police and my attorney. Get off my land and don't come back. The posts online only got nastier, photos of the ruined fence, more lies about how I refused help. I screenshotted everyone. The public campaign was now criminal, not just civil. Time to go to court. 3 calls, first to my attorney, then to the police, then to the court clerk for a restraining order. My files were thick, violation notices, drone logs, audio, video, threat letters, witness statements from other neighbors Daphne had targeted. Turns out I wasn't the first. But I'd be the last. Courtroom was packed. Daphne came in like she owned the place, her lawyer in tow. When my attorney laid out the evidence, played, the videos showed, the posts played that audio of Daphne, well, the color drained right out of her. Judge Chase Bennett, someone I knew from my own days on the bench, put it all together. Then she recognized my name. Her whole demeanor changed. You targeted a retired judge. She said someone who documented every single violation. Her ruling was swift, $500,000 in damages, restraining order, criminal referral, public apology. The board was out. Daphne was done. Neighbors came by after the ruling. Apologies, casseroles, hands outstretched. Most of them were just people not enemies, fooled, not evil. The investigation rolled on. Backhoe driver confessed, pointed right at the HOA. Daphne faced charges, conspiracy, harassment, property destruction. The fence took weeks to rebuild, but I wasn't alone. Neighbors who'd stood with me, new friends, old adversaries came to help. We kept the old rails with the carved names, added a plaque, boundaries, respect them and be respected. The day we finished, a young man asked, "Why fight so hard for a fence?" I told him, "It's not just a fence. It's a promise of respect, of dignity. Some things you don't let go." Life settled. The land was quiet again, but the quiet wasn't brittle anymore. It was solid, honest, earned. Judge Bennett sent a letter, said I reminded her why justice mattered, framed it, hung it beside my granddad's shotgun. Sometimes as the sun sets, I look at that fence and think about what all this cost and what it proved, that justice isn't about winning, it's about standing firm when everyone else wants you to bend. Some things, dignity, land legacy, aren't negotiable. The fence stands stronger now. Names old and new carved deep, a line that won't be crossed again. They thought it was just wood and wire. They didn't know boundaries are everything, between chaos and order, between justice and tyranny. Daphne found that out the hard way. So here's my question for you. Where do you draw your line? What would you stand up for when the world tries to push you down? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Share your own stories, your take on justice and boundaries. If you made it this far, hit like, share it around, and stick with us for more wild stories. Because around here, boundaries aren't just lines on a map, they're lines in the soul.